Masyado, gumalaw na kayo, gumalaw na. Galaw na, galaw na. Nagsabi na, 500. Hindi, ano lang.
Nakikita mo yun,
sige.
Yes, of course.
Roll lang tayo.
Yun.
Roll lang. All units, galaw na, galaw na. Papasok na tayo.
Yes.
Hindi ay magpatakot.
Ling.
This is the center of hope. At any given time, there are a dozen to 2 dozen girls living here. Most of them are victims of abuse. This is where we met 15-year-old Sarah and 14-year-old Joanne. We're not revealing their real names and faces, but their stories are very real.
Nakakadiri po. Pero wala kaming magawa kasi meron naman yung kapalit.
Just like those rescued in a number of sting operations by the Philippine government in 2014, they were minors, in fact just kids, when they came here.
9 years old po ako nung nangyari. Parang wala lang, kasi bata pa naman po ako nung hindi ko po alam na mali.
They were also victims of illegal cybersex operations. Welcome to this special edition of Assignment Asia. I'm Barnaby Lowe. 750,000. That's the estimated number of people looking to engage in sexual activities with children at any given time online. Make no mistake about it, webcam child sex tourism or child cybersex is a global phenomenon. And the center of operations is here in the Philippines, where tens of thousands of children are believed to be victims. Cebu, Queen City of the South, is widely considered to be second to Manila. It is both a commercial hub destination. It also has nightlife. It isn't difficult to see why so many foreigners come here at a time. But in recent years, the city appears attracting more and more virtual tourists. And as the internet has become more accessible, so has the opportunity for online child sexual exploitation. CREDA, a local NGO that protects women and children, about 1/4 of children they've rescued have been victims of cybersex. Sarah and Joanne were neighbors in one of Cebu's most densely populated and impoverished communities. Sarah and Joanne were playing on the street in a neighborhood like this when one day they were asked if they wanted to make some money. They ended up in a place like this. All over the community, people can rent computers and go online for less than $1 a minute. Some of these shops front the main street, while others are hidden from plain sight, in dark, narrow alleys all around town. Most activities are relatively harmless. Gaming, social media, email. But when Sarah and Joanne went inside one of these shops that day in 2009, they had no idea that their lives were going to change forever.
Nung pagpasok ko po doon, meron na pong 2 babae doon na nakaano nga po, walang suot. Tapos Nagulat po ako, tas nahiya po ako.
Kahit nahihiya ka, tinuloy mo.
Nung madalas na po, hindi na po ako nahiya kasi parang wala lang. Kasi bata pa naman po ako nun. Hindi ko po alam na mali.
Okay. Pakikwento mo, kung okay lang sa'yo, kung ano yung eksaktong pinapagawa sa inyo dun sa computer shop na yun.
Yun po, pinapatanggal po kami ng lahat ng suit namin. Tapos, pinapasayaw-sayaw ganyan. Tapos, ano pa po, may iba po.
What those other things were, Joanne couldn't bring herself to tell us. But Sarah told us some of their clients had perversions that were a little too extreme. Marami pa, bukod sa paghuhubad, ano pa ang gusto ng mga foreigner?
Sabi niya, ano daw, mag-ano daw kami ng aso.
Ginawa nyo.
Ginawa namin.
Pero ano yung naramdaman ninyo o sa loob-loob ninyo? Ano yung nasa isip ninyo?
Nakakadiri po. Pero wala kaming magawa kasi meron naman yung kapalit eh, kaya parang okay lang, ganun.
For every 4 to 6 hours of work, they were paid $4 to $6 US. Money they believed their families needed badly. Sarah's father is a pedicab driver. Her mother, a domestic helper. Together, they make less than $10 US a day for a family of 11. Joanne comes from a broken family. She never met her father, and her mother left her with her grandfather when Joanne was just 1 to work in Manila. Later, she came back to Cebu, still poor. Around the time Joanne was recruited to the online sex trade. When we met Joanne's mother, she admitted to knowing that her daughter was working for a cybersex den operator. Kilala niyo itong taong to?
Oo, kapitbahay lang namin.
Ano ho yung pagkakakilala niyo sa taong to?
Eh, yun nga, ganyan. Paano siya, gumagamit siya ng mga bata.
Pero hinayaan niyo ho yung anak ninyo na sumama sa kanya. Ganun po ba? Tama ba yung...
Hindi, kasi iba kasi yung pinapagsabi niya sa akin. Hihiramin lang daw niya dahil papakita yung mukha. Tapos, pumayag ako. Umagang-umaga yun eh. Pumayag ako. Tapos nung pagkatapos na nila doon, tinanong ko yung anak ko. Sabi niya, ganyan daw, pinahubad sila, lahat.
Sarah, on the other hand, says she isn't sure if her parents knew at the time, but she them talking to the den's operator.
Siguro iba yung sinabi niya, kaya parang napaka-convince niya yung magulang ko na ganito. Baka iniba niya yung style, kaya hindi ko alam.
Kuan sir, tinuod jud ni atong last jud nga hapit na sila ma-read gani. Pero atong higayon na wala mi ana. Pero katong last jud nga kuan nakadawat mig kuan kwarta pero 100 last ba. Nya mo na to among hibaw-an nga anong doon na sila kwarta.
Sa tagal-tagal na pabalik-balik si Sarah dun sa internet shop na yon, 100 lang yung naibigay niya sa inyo.
Dili, murag kaduha, katulo.
Okay, so kung nakatanggap kayo ng tig 100, sabi niyo 3 beses?
Pero, sir ha?
Hindi, oo.
Oh. Anak no, nangutan ako. Ko diin mo ani. Siya, ay sa kuan raman ni ma kanang sa computer nya. Ko anong tagaan man mo niya? Nga kanang kuan man siya. Ay igo raman mi sayaw-sayaw. Sayaw ako no sila sir ba. Pero wala ko kay bawo sir nga maghubuan bede ani ang bata. Ang akong kuan nya murag baliwa lang bitaw nako. Umay noon kay tagaan mo. 100 nya. Tapos kaunon ra na sa mga bata ini kagabi. Ila ra nang kaunon nga sila duha, tulo, mga bata na manggawas. Tapos mga ang dihaog ka ng lakimi ba. Malipay na sila. Tagaan sila 100 kay. Magsayaw-sayaw ra kuno sila sa computeran.
So just how common is it for parents to know that their children are in fact being victimized? When we come back, we'll take you to a sleepy town not far from Cebu City, where authorities had made a shocking discovery. Children were being trafficked in their own homes. Stay with us on Assignment Asia. In March 2013, a British man found to have engaged in sexual activities with children online here in the Philippines was convicted and sentenced to 8 years in prison. The man had apparently recorded those activities and kept them on his computer. The next logical step for authorities was to locate the children. The hunt took them to a small town in the central Philippines. This is the village of Ibabaw in Cordova, a town not far from Cebu City. Residents here aren't particularly well off. Most of them rely on fishing to make a living. But in 2008, local officials noticed something strange. Suddenly, it seemed, antennas started popping up on rooftops all over the village. Police were puzzled. Later, they found out the antennas were connecting the homes to the internet, something they couldn't possibly afford.
That was very doubtful to you, that there were so many antennas jutting out of those houses.
Yes, so we passed an ordinance providing for requirements yung may business with antennas. We also conducted an information drive telling the people that we are asking them to register their antennas so that we can monitor their movement, what were their activities at the time.
The local government wanted residents to know they now had eyes on the ground. Reports of children taking their clothes off in front of webcams started coming in. But then the antennas began to disappear as people started to use Wi-Fi modems instead. Still, reports of child pornography persisted. But without hard evidence, the authorities couldn't search the houses.
I was going to ask, you couldn't secure a search warrant?
Very hard. No judge would release a search warrant without a strong basis. So until that time when a volunteer came to us and divulged the information. So because of her story, we were able to coordinate with the NBI and also internationally.
Then the informant came to authorities with video footage, enough for a judge to issue a search warrant. What they found in Ibabaw, though, was unlike anything they'd seen. Children weren't rounded up in a den to perform sexual acts online. Instead, they were victims in their own homes, with their parents watching them as they took their clothes off and did whatever clients on the other side of the world wanted them to do in front of a webcam. In Ibabaw, it had become a cottage industry.
Unbelievable that the parents would allow their children to do the acts that they were dictating.
Can you describe to us what you saw in the video?
First, the going naked before the camera, and then the touching of the private parts, like that. Unbelievable.
Cecilia Oibanda, founder of Visayan Forum Foundation, has helped victims of abuse for more than 20 years, including victims of cybersex. She's alarmed at how the trade has evolved and continues to evolve.
I think in part of the parents, beyond money, I think there's also some cultural, notion there that child abuse is out really consummating it physically, Since there is no actual contact, they believe that there's no harm caused to the child. And that one is really not true. And I think we need the community, we need the parents, we need the people to understand that it is not a trade that we need to, to justify. In every picture, in every show, there's a real victim there. There's a real exploitation there.
To this day, however, despite their community having already become the poster child for child cybersex, the issue remains hush-hush among residents of Ibabaw. Pwede mo tanong, sitio Sunok po do? Dito po yung ni-raid last year.
Hindi ko alam siya.
Kasi nanan.
Why you looking, you always video the whole bucket?
Tatanong lang po kung dito last year. Yung sa cybersex.
No. Bakit man?
Oo.
Very long time ago.
Long time ago na po.
2 years. Long.
2 years yun?
2 years. No, no. Don't.
Wala na po ngayon.
I don't like that.
Wala na po ngayon. Wala na po nangyayaring ganun dito ngayon.
Bakit? You always looking around here.
So how do you feel when people say Cordova has become the center of child cybersex in the world?
That is inaccurate because center in the sense that we effect arrest. But the other areas where there is no arrest, it doesn't mean that there is no such activity.
One of the things the local government here in Cordova has done since the discovery of cybersex activities is to require those sending and receiving money through establishments like the one behind me to fill out this form. Now, one of the most crucial information in this form is the relationship between the sender and receiver. Local officials believe that through this information, they can trace dubious transactions. Mayor Sitoy admits this is far from a foolproof solution, and that the problem does still exist in Cordova, though it's not as rampant. The trouble is, perpetrators are becoming elusive.
The existence of the problem here becomes complicated because of the come and go procedure that they have adopted. They recruit when the situation is safe for them, but they immediately leave when they suspect that there is a follow-up made on their activity.
I don't think that one NGO or two NGOs or even one government can really tackle this problem alone. It really requires a global effort, and sharing of information. And I think this is the direction that we are looking at, because we have maybe able to track some operators here in the Philippines, but we can do it here in the Philippines, but definitely they have their own connection abroad.
To that end, a Dutch child rights organization has created a decoy to snare cybersex perpetrators. When we come back, how that Dutch group's efforts successfully led to identifying more than 1,000 online pedophiles. You're watching Assignment Asia. In recent years, Philippine authorities have had some success uncovering illegal cybersex operations, including those that use minors. But their work is far from over, and is only half the solution to the global child cybersex phenomenon. Because as long as there is demand, there will be supply, and tracking down the demand side of the business has proven to be more challenging because the internet has given millions of pedophiles, to a certain extent, protection and anonymity. To date, only a handful of online pedophiles worldwide have been convicted, according to the Dutch child rights organization Terre des Hommes. And so the only way to catch them, the organization says, is to engage them.
My name is Sweetie. I'm 10 years old. I live in the Philippines. Every day, I had to sit in front of the webcam and talk to men, just like tens of thousands of other kids.
For 10 weeks, Terre des Hommes researchers chatted with men online, posing as young Filipino girls. One of them was Sweetie.
We went online as posing as a young Filipina, and we were completely shocked by the amount of people who wanted to get in a conversation with her, even though they knew that this was a young child, because it was clear from her profile. And the way these men would start the conversation was almost always immediately in a sexual way.
Sweetie isn't even real. She's a virtual character, a digital creation who looks and moves like a real girl. Men who chat with her think she's from the Philippines, but whatever she says and does are actually controlled by programmers and researchers from a warehouse in Amsterdam.
Using bits of information they give us, we identify them with Google, Facebook, and other sources. Without hacking their computers, we collect their names, addresses, phone numbers, pictures, and video footage. In just 2 months, we identified the first 1,000 predators.
So how much has Sweetie contributed to the solution to this problem?
Well, I think the first step is that we've really put this phenomenon on the map internationally. So it's really, now it is clear to the world that this is a big problem that we need to address. There have been also already several arrests of the 1,000 identities that we provided to Interpol. So that's also a good sign. And now for us, a next step is that we hope to persuade international community and international law enforcement to adopt this new proactive way of investigating.
This is exactly why Sarah and Joanne are telling their stories, they say, to bring awareness and prevent other children from becoming victims. Yes, they were victims, but through the help of the government and their mentors here in the Center of Hope, they say they've learned to move on.
Kasi sinabi nga po sa Bible, all things work together for good. Kaya kung hindi po yun nangyari, hindi po ako mapupunta dito. Kung hindi po ako napunta dito, hindi ko po malalaman ang karapatan ko. Hindi ko po malalaman na yung mga na nangyayari sa Pilipinas na may mga ganun pala. At isa kami sa nabiktima.
Ang makasabi ko sa kanila, okay lang yan, makaka-recover din sila as huwag silang mawala ng pag-asa kasi buhay ka pa eh. Sabi nga nila eh, kapag habang buhay ka may pag-asa, di ba?
For 5 years now, the Center of Hope has been their home. They're encouraged to express themselves through arts. They have group sharing sessions and are closely monitored by social workers and psychologists. They're able to go to school and their needs are adequately provided.
And this is where you're staying?
Yeah, this is what they stay. This is the dormitory. Nice. Yeah, it is very nice. Yeah. Yeah, because we feel sometimes that these kids was giving to us by God to take care of them. So if you take care a child and it comes to your home, you should give everything that you can. As a caretaker of, as maybe a temporary guidance, guardians to this girls.
Part of taking care of these kids is actually following up on their cases.
Definitely, that's part of the taking care, part of of the Visayan Forum, because we need really to track and understand what really happens to them and seek justice. We cannot just allow just to help them and just allow the trafficker to recruit again, and to victimize again more girls. So we need to stop him by putting him in prison.
And in the case of Sarah and Joanne, to make sure also that their parents take responsibility. Despite all the years they've spent here and the lessons they've learned, social workers here say it isn't time yet for them to go home. From time to time though, they do let them see their families. And despite all the pain, the time and distance apart, moments like these are cherished.
Hindi naman po importante kung ano yung karanasan mo noon. Kasi mas importante naman doon kung ano yung nakuha mong lesson doon sa nangyari sa'yo.
Kamove on na ako doon. Pero ang gusto ko lang sana, yung ginawa namin, sana malaman ng iba para maging aware sila na merong ganitong nangyayari sa bansa natin. Kaya sana mag-ingat sila.
Just because we don't see it happening around us doesn't mean it's not happening. The danger with child cybersex is that it happens behind closed doors, and the abusers are spread across the entire planet. But it isn't impossible to stop. With law enforcement, children's advocates, and local communities working together, the day could come when no child will ever have to lose her innocence and dignity, online or offline. That's all for this edition of Assignment Asia. You can watch this and all our stories on our website, www.assignment-asia.com. You can also share your thoughts, contribute story ideas for future shows by contacting us on social media. I'm Barnaby Lo. Thanks for watching, and join us again on Assignment Asia.